First Contact's deception. They appeared on a Tuesday morning, their ships materializing just beyond Luna's orbit in a display that sent Earth's astronomical instruments into chaos. 7 vessels, each gleaming like liquid mercury in the sunlight, arranged themselves in a perfect heptagon formation. The message they broadcast reached every communications device on Earth simultaneously, transmitted in perfect English and 200 other languages. We come in peace, as representatives of the Galactic Federation of Allied Species. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood at the United Nations Emergency Session podium 48 hours later, her hand steady despite the weight of humanity's future resting on her shoulders. The chamber buzzed with a mixture of excitement and apprehension as holographic displays showed the alien delegation's shuttle descending through Earth's atmosphere. "Our visitors call themselves the Meridian Collective," she announced, her voice carrying across the silent chamber. "They claim to represent a federation of over 300 spacefaring civilizations, and they want Earth to join them." In the front row, Dr. James Rodriguez, Earth's leading xenolinguist, frowned at his quantum tablet. Something about the alien's perfect translation matrix bothered him. It wasn't just good, it was flawless. Too flawless. The Meridians chose Geneva for their first formal meeting. Their representatives emerged from their shuttle like liquid starlight given form, towering, ethereal beings with iridescent skin that shifted colors with their movements. Their leader, who called himself First Speaker Villith, moved with impossible grace. "We have watched your species with great interest." Villith's words flowed like honey, translated by their advanced systems. "Your potential is remarkable. Your art, your music, your dedication to peace after centuries of conflict, these mark you as ready for elevation." Sarah noticed James's subtle hand signal from the corner of her eye. 3 fingers, then 2. Their private code. Something's wrong. The next 3 months passed in a whirlwind of diplomatic exchanges and technological demonstrations. The Meridians shared glimpses of their advanced technology, clean energy systems, medical breakthroughs, faster-than-light travel theories. Earth's governments scrambled to adapt to this new reality, while corporations salivated at the potential opportunities. But Sarah Chen couldn't shake a growing sense of unease. It started with small inconsistencies. The Meridian's supposedly comprehensive database of galactic species had gaps that their representatives smoothly talked around when questioned. Their technology demonstrations, while impressive, always seemed carefully curated, as if they were showing exactly what they wanted Earth to see, nothing more and nothing less. Then came the questions, subtle inquiries about Earth's military response protocols, casual interest in the location of key strategic resources, discussions about human psychology that focused suspiciously often on fear responses and conflict resolution. Late one night in her Geneva office, Sarah received an encrypted message from James. "Meet me at the old library. Bring no electronics." The library was a relic in an age of digital information, its paper books gathering dust. James waited in the medieval history section, his usually composed face tight with worry. "I've been analyzing their language patterns," he whispered, pulling out a notebook filled with handwritten calculations. "Their translation matrix isn't just translating, it's adapting, learning, probing. Every conversation is a psychological assessment." Sarah felt her blood run cold. What are they looking for? Weaknesses. James flipped through his notes. But here's what's fascinating. They're making mistakes. Their assessments are based on our public face, our diplomatic stance, our stated ideals. They're missing the complexity, the duality of human nature, the peace they praise us for. Exactly. They see our desire for peace as simple pacifism. They don't understand that humans don't avoid war because we're afraid of it. We avoid it because we know exactly how good we are at it. Sarah's mind raced through months of interactions, seeing them in a new light. The Meridians' carefully crafted image, their 2 perfect presentations, their probing questions, it all pointed to one conclusion. "They're testing us," she breathed. This whole first contact scenario is an assessment. James nodded grimly. And I found something else. Their transmissions. There's a second layer of communications happening. Quantum encrypted, but they didn't account for human innovation in quantum mechanics. Dr. Patel at CERN helped me crack a fragment. He handed her a single piece of paper. The translated text made her blood freeze. Subject species shows minimal defensive capabilities. Recommend proceeding to Phase 2. The harvest can begin within 1 stellar cycle. Sarah stood abruptly, her chair scraping against the old wooden floor. We need to contact the Security Council. Quietly. There's more, James added, his voice barely a whisper. The Meridians aren't the Federation they claim to be. They're more like colonial scouts. They find civilizations they deem manageable, assess them for weaknesses, and Earth's dedication to peace made us look like an easy target. Sarah's laugh held no humor. How long do you think we have? Based on their communications pattern, 3 months, maybe 4. Sarah straightened her jacket, her mind already formulating plans. Then we have work to do. They think they're studying humanity, James. It's time to show them how much they've missed. As she walked out of the library into the cool Geneva night, Sarah looked up at the stars. Somewhere up there, the Meridian ships hung in space, their crews confident in their assessment of Earth as a peaceful, passive civilization ready for elevation, or more accurately, subjugation. They had made a fundamental mistake, one that countless others had made throughout human history. They had confused humanity's desire for peace with an inability to wage war. They saw Earth's public face, the diplomacy, the treaties, the peace movements, and assumed they understood the whole story. They didn't understand that humans created art about the horrors of war precisely because we knew those horrors intimately. That we built peace organizations because we understood exactly what the alternative looked like. That our greatest strength wasn't our technology or our numbers, but our ability to see the darkness within ourselves and choose a different path, until choosing that path was no longer an option. Sarah pulled out her secure phone and dialed a number she had hoped never to use. This is Ambassador Chen. Implementation Authorization Code. Prometheus Rising. Begin Protocol Silent Shield. Across the planet, in hidden facilities and classified installations, humanity's real technological achievements began powering up. The Meridians thought they were studying Earth. They were about to learn that Earth had been studying them right back. And humanity's greatest deception, making the galaxy believe we were simply another peaceful species finding its way among the stars. They would learn the truth soon enough. The Shadow Protocol. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility that didn't officially exist, General Maya Patel stood before a wall of holographic displays. Each screen showed a different aspect of humanity's carefully orchestrated deception. Military installations disguised as research centers, quantum shield generators hidden within civilian infrastructure, and orbital defense platforms masquerading as communication satellites. Status report on Project Nightshade, she commanded, her voice steady despite the weight of the last 72 hours. Dr. Elena Santos, head of quantum engineering, stepped forward. Her team had spent the last decade developing technologies that humanity had kept hidden from even itself. The metamaterial cloaking systems are fully operational. We can mask the entire Sol Defense Fleet within 6 hours. The Sol Defense Fleet, another secret kept from the watching eyes above. While civilian space programs launched visible rockets and made public announcements about modest achievements, humanity's true space force had been growing in the shadows of asteroid bases and underground lunar facilities. And the Meridians suspect nothing. Maya asked, though she already knew the answer. The aliens' arrogance had made humanity's deception almost too easy. They're still focused on our visible military assets, Elena confirmed, bringing up a new display. Their quantum scans can't penetrate our dampening fields. As far as they're concerned, Earth's most advanced weapon is still the kinetic strike platform we let them detect last week. Maya allowed herself a small smile. The detected platform had been carefully crafted bait, designed to appear just advanced enough to be believable, but primitive enough to reinforce the Meridian's assumptions about Earth's technological level. A priority alert flashed across the main screen. Ambassador Chen's face appeared, her expression grim. "General, we have confirmation. The Meridian fleet is receiving reinforcements. Dr. Rodriguez decoded their latest transmission. They're moving up their timetable." "How long?" 6 weeks, maximum. They're getting impatient with the diplomatic charade. Maya nodded, unsurprised. "Then it's time for Phase 2. Initiate Protocol Lazarus." Across Earth's hidden facilities, systems that had been dormant for years began awakening. In the Mariana Trench, massive underwater assembly plants started producing autonomous defense drones by the thousands. Beneath the Sahara, quantum computers more advanced than anything the Meridians had shown Earth began running combat simulations at unprecedented speeds. But humanity's greatest advantage wasn't its hidden technology, it was information. While the Meridians thought they were studying Earth, every interaction, every demonstration, every diplomatic exchange had been carefully designed to gather data about their potential adversaries. Dr. Rodriguez's linguistic analysis had revealed crucial weaknesses in Meridian psychology. Their society's hierarchical structure made them predictable. Their reliance on technological superiority had left them strategically inflexible, and their dismissal of lesser species meant they consistently underestimated potential threats. In a secured conference room in Geneva, Sarah Chen met with the heads of Earth's most advanced research divisions. The room's quantum shielding ensured absolute privacy. "Show me what we've learned," she commanded. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, head of xenobiology, stepped forward. "Their physiology is remarkable, but not invulnerable. The iridescent skin they're so proud of. It's also a weakness. Their cellular structure is sensitive to specific electromagnetic frequencies. A properly calibrated pulse could incapacitate their entire crew without damaging their ships, which they've never had to defend against because no species they've encountered had our understanding of bioelectromagnetics," Sarah concluded. "What else?" "Their ship's quantum drives," Alina Santos added, joining virtually from her mountain facility. "They're efficient, but they rely on a standardized frequency for coordinator jumps. We've developed a way to disrupt those frequencies. In theory, we could strand their entire fleet in normal space." The pieces were falling into place. Every demonstration of Meridian technology had revealed new vulnerabilities. Every diplomatic meeting had exposed psychological blind spots. Earth had turned its greatest perceived weakness, its technological inferiority, into an asset, letting the Meridians believe they were dealing with a primitive species while studying their every move. Maya Patel's voice came through the quantum-encrypted channel. "Ambassador, you should see this. We've detected unusual activity in the Meridian fleet. They're conducting high-energy scans of our outer system." Sarah felt her pulse quicken. "They're mapping invasion routes." "Yes, but they're being sloppy about it. They're not even trying to hide their scans. Their confidence in their technological superiority is making them careless. Then we use that." Sarah's mind raced through the possibilities. "Dr. Santos, how quickly can we deploy the quantum mesh network?" "The satellite grid is ready. We can have full coverage of Earth and lunar orbit within 48 hours. Do it, General Patel. Begin moving our lunar forces into position, but keep them under full cloak. Dr. Tanaka, I want those EM pulse weapons ready for deployment. And someone get me Dr. Rodriguez. I need to know everything about their command structure." As the orders went out, Sarah walked to the window, looking up at the night sky, where the Meridian ships hung like false stars. In their arrogance, they thought they were watching a young, naive species fumbling its way into galactic society. They had no idea they were actually watching humanity's greatest performance. The next 6 weeks would change everything. The Meridians thought they were preparing to harvest another primitive civilization. Instead, they were about to learn why humanity's dedication to peace wasn't born of weakness, but of wisdom. Why Earth's nations had united not out of fear, but out of foresight. Why humans told stories about the horrors of war, not because they feared it, but because they had mastered it. In her office, Sarah picked up a worn copy of Sun Tzu's The Art of War. The ancient text had taken on new meaning in the age of interstellar conflict. All warfare is based on deception, she quoted softly. When capable, feign incapacity. When active, inactivity. Humanity had learned its lessons well. Now it was time to teach them to the stars. In orbit, hidden beneath quantum fields and metamaterial cloaking, Earth's real fleet waited. In bunkers and bases across the planet, advanced weapon systems stood ready. In laboratories and research centers, scientists and engineers put the finishing touches on technologies that would reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. The Shadow Protocol wasn't just a defensive strategy. It was humanity's answer to a universe that mistook patience for weakness and preparation for fear. The Meridians had watched Earth for signs of military capability, but they had been watching the wrong things. They monitored missile silos while quantum weapons waited in silence. They counted submarines while space fleets grew in secret. They measured the strength of Earth's radio transmissions while overlooking the power of human ingenuity. Their mistake wasn't in choosing Earth as a target. Their mistake was in believing that humanity's greatest weapons were the ones they could see. Breaking point. The attack began at dawn. Meridian warships emerged from quantum space above Mars colony, their weapons already charging. First Speaker Villith's transmission reached Earth moments later. His previously melodious voice, now sharp with contempt. Your species has been evaluated and found wanting. Submit to protective custody, or face immediate pacification. In Geneva's Crisis Command Center, Ambassador Sarah Chen watched the deployment of the Meridian fleet with an expression that might have been mistaken for concern. Beside her, Dr. Rodriguez monitored the alien communications with practiced ease. They're using their standard invasion pattern, he noted, exactly as the simulations predicted. Sarah nodded once. General Patel, are we in position? All units ready. Maya's voice came through quantum channels the Meridians couldn't detect. Waiting for your signal. Sarah took a deep breath, remembering all the years of preparation, the careful deception, the patient gathering of intelligence. Initiate Operation Lighthouse. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden strength emerged from the shadows. The Meridians' first indication that something was wrong came when their quantum scans of Mars colony bounced back, showing nothing but empty buildings. The civilian population had been evacuated weeks ago, replaced with holographic emitters that maintained the appearance of normal activity. Their second surprise came in the form of previously undetected defense platforms emerging from the Martian moons, their metamaterial cloaking falling away like invisible veils. The platforms unleashed precisely calibrated electromagnetic pulses, targeting frequencies that human scientists had discovered were particularly devastating to Meridian neurobiology. Entire bridge crews collapsed, their iridescent skin flickering in distress as their synaptic patterns were disrupted. Ships began drifting, their quantum coordination systems struggling against frequencies they were never designed to resist. Second wave, engage, General Patel commanded from her Rocky Mountain Command Center. The orbital rings around Earth shimmered as hundreds of advanced fighters dropped their cloaking fields. They moved with a speed and precision that left the Meridian commanders stunned, executing maneuvers that should have been impossible for such a primitive species. In the chaos of those first minutes, First Speaker Villith's flagship attempted to coordinate a response. Their superior technology should have given them the advantage. But as Dr. Santos had discovered, technological superiority meant little when your enemy understood your systems better than you did. You understand so little about us. Sarah's voice carried across all channels as humanity's counterattack unfolded. You saw our art about peace and thought we were weak. You saw our treaties and thought we were afraid. You never asked why a species would work so hard to avoid war. The Meridian command ship's quantum shields flickered and failed as human quantum disruptors isolated exactly the frequencies needed to unravel their defense matrix. The aliens had never considered that their targets might have developed countermeasures to technology they weren't supposed to know existed. "We don't fear war," Sarah continued, her voice steady. "We fear what we become when we wage it. Our dedication to peace isn't born from weakness. It's born from knowing exactly what we're capable of." Across the solar system, the careful orchestration of humanity's defense revealed itself. Quantum mesh networks neutralized Meridian targeting systems. Autonomous drone swarms, hidden in asteroid bases, emerged to overwhelm alien point defense systems. Every weakness, every vulnerability that humans had discovered during months of careful observation was exploited with surgical precision. In lunar orbit, Earth's true fleet emerged from hiding. Ships that combined human ingenuity with technologies reversed engineered from careful study of Meridian systems. Vessels that represented not just humanity's military might, but its capacity for innovation and adaptation. "Your mistake," Dr. Rodriguez transmitted directly to Villith's flagship, "was in believing that because we chose peace, we had forgotten war. You never understood that choosing not to fight isn't the same as not knowing how." The Meridian counterattack, when it came, was predictably hierarchical, exactly as human psychological analysis had suggested it would be. Their ships moved in rigid formations, following doctrines that had served them well against less sophisticated opponents. But humanity had spent months studying those doctrines, developing counters for every standard tactic. Earth's forces moved with fluid unpredictability, combining strategies from thousands of years of military history with technologies the Meridians had never imagined humans possessing. Ancient wisdom met quantum mechanics as human ships executed maneuvers inspired by everything from naval warfare to guerrilla tactics. Status report, General Patel demanded as the battle entered its second hour. Meridian casualties minimal. Elena reported from her quantum control center. "Our electromagnetic weapons are effectively neutralizing their crews without permanent harm. 80% of their fleet is now combat ineffective." That had been a crucial part of the strategy. Humanity could have developed lethal weapons, could have sought to destroy their would-be conquerors. Instead, they had chosen to demonstrate not just their strength, but their wisdom. In his flagship's command center, First Speaker Villith watched his invasion force crumble before what should have been an inferior enemy. The humans hadn't just prepared for this confrontation. They had shaped every interaction, every demonstration, every diplomatic exchange to gather intelligence while presenting themselves as an easy target. "How?" he demanded, his translator struggling to convey the complex harmonics of his distress. "Your species showed no signs of such capability." Sarah's response was transmitted across all frequencies, a lesson for any watching species who might have similar intentions toward Earth. "We showed you exactly what you expected to see. You wanted to believe we were primitive, so we let you believe it. You wanted to think our love of peace made us weak, so we let you think it. And all the while, we studied you. We learned you. We prepared." The battle, if it could still be called that, was effectively over. The Meridian fleet hung motionless in space, their crews incapacitated, their weapons neutralized, their supposedly superior technology turned against them by the very species they had planned to subjugate. But humanity's response wasn't finished. As the dust settled, Earth revealed its final deception: the presence of observers from other galactic species who had witnessed the entire confrontation. Species who, like humanity, had seen through the Meridian's peaceful facade and recognized their true intentions. "Your civilization isn't the first to mistake humanity's restraint for weakness," Sarah addressed the defeated Meridian commander. "But we hope you'll be the last. We chose peace not because we had to, but because we should. Not because we couldn't fight, but because we understood the cost of fighting too well." In orbit around Mars, Earth's fleet maintained their positions, their true capabilities now clear to the galaxy. They were a testament not just to human military prowess, but to humanity's fundamental nature, a species that chose peace precisely because they excelled at war. The breaking point hadn't just been a military victory. It was a demonstration of humanity's greatest strengths: the ability to learn, to adapt, to deceive when necessary, and above all, to choose wisdom over power. The galaxy had witnessed not just the defeat of an invasion force, but the emergence of a species that understood that true strength lies not in the ability to wage war, but in the wisdom to avoid it when possible and win it when necessary. The art of adaptation. In the aftermath of the battle, humanity's true nature revealed itself not in victory, but in what came after. The Meridian crews awoke to find themselves not in prison cells, but in medical facilities designed specifically for their biology. Their injuries were treated by doctors who had spent months studying their physiology, preparing for this very moment. First speaker Vilith, still struggling to process his civilization's defeat, found himself in a conference room overlooking Earth's Pacific Ocean. Across the table sat Ambassador Chen, Dr. Rodriguez, and representatives from 3 other galactic civilizations who had been secretly watching events unfold. "We could have destroyed your fleet," Sarah began, her voice carrying no hint of threat or superiority. "Instead, we chose to demonstrate something far more important." The Carthaxian observer, a being of crystalline thought structures, chimed in with harmonious approval. "The humans knew of our presence all along. They detected our cloaked observation posts months ago, but chose to let us watch. They wanted witnesses." Vilith's iridescent skin rippled with confusion. "Witnesses to our defeat. Witnesses to a better way," Dr. Rodriguez corrected. "Your species has spent millennia conquering others through technological superiority. We wanted to show the galaxy a different path." General Patel's hologram materialized in the center of the room, displaying tactical data from the recent confrontation. "Every weapon we used was designed to incapacitate, not destroy. Every strategy was calculated to minimize harm while maximizing effectiveness. Even now, our engineers are helping repair your ships." The truth began to dawn on the Meridian leader. The humans hadn't just outmaneuvered them militarily. They had orchestrated a galactic object lesson in the true meaning of strength. In orbital facilities around Earth, Meridian crew members watched in amazement as human medical technology, far more advanced than anything they had shown during their months of cultural exchange, repaired neural damage from the electromagnetic pulses. But more surprising was the openness with which humans now shared their knowledge. Dr. Elena Santos led a team of engineers through a Meridian vessel's engine room, explaining to its grateful crew how to protect their quantum drives from the frequencies that had disabled them. "Your basic designs are excellent," she noted, genuine admiration in her voice. "With a few modifications, they could be even better." This was humanity's true art of adaptation, not just learning and countering enemy capabilities, but transforming former adversaries into potential allies. In Geneva, the United Earth Council convened a special session, broadcast across human space, and to watching alien civilizations. Sarah Chen took the podium, her words carrying the weight of humanity's new role in the galaxy. "For centuries, we warred among ourselves. We split atoms to destroy cities, poisoned our own atmosphere, and brought ourselves to the brink of extinction more than once. But from each conflict, we learned. From each crisis, we adapted. We didn't just develop new weapons, we developed new ways of thinking." Screens showed human history, not sanitized but honest. The horrors of past wars, the devastation of nuclear weapons, the slow and painful development of international law and cooperation. We chose peace not because we were incapable of war, but because we became too good at it. We built art and literature around its horrors not to show our fear, but to remind ourselves of why we chose another path. And when we looked to the stars, we hoped to find civilizations that had learned the same lessons. In orbit, human ships began sharing positions with Meridian vessels, not as guards but as escorts. The quantum mesh network that had been used to disable alien defenses was now being used to share navigational data and safety protocols. Dr. Rodriguez had developed a new translation matrix, one that didn't just convert words but helped convey cultural context. As he explained to a group of fascinated Meridian linguists, communication isn't just about understanding words, it's about understanding perspective. The Meridian crew members, exposed to human culture without the filter of their leadership's prejudices, began to see what their superiors had missed. They watched in amazement as humans switched seamlessly between disciplines, combining military precision with diplomatic finesse, technological innovation with artistic expression. "Your species is paradoxical," a Meridian science officer admitted to Dr. Santos as they worked together on drive modifications. "You have weapons that could destroy our ships, yet you choose to help repair them. You possess technology beyond what we imagined, yet you spend resources on art and music." Elena smiled as she made a final adjustment to the quantum harmonizer. "That's because we learned that true advancement isn't just about technology. It's about wisdom, about knowing when to use power and when to extend a hand." In the weeks that followed, Earth became a gathering point for diplomatic missions from across the galaxy. Species that had hidden from Meridian expansion now sought alliance with humanity, not because of their military strength, but because of how they had chosen to use it. The Meridian hierarchy itself began to transform. Exposed to human ideas about collective decision-making and distributed authority, younger members of their society began questioning centuries-old assumptions about power and control. Vilith, watching his civilization's transformation from that same conference room overlooking the Pacific, finally understood the full scope of humanity's victory. "You didn't just defeat us," he said to Sarah. "You changed us." "We changed ourselves first," she replied. "That's why we could help change you." In lunar orbit, the combined human Meridian fleet conducted joint exercises, sharing techniques and technologies. But more importantly, they shared perspectives. Meridian tactical officers learned about human military history, about strategies born from centuries of adaptation and innovation. Human crews learned about Meridian quantum mechanics, their understanding enhanced by months of prior study and preparation. This was humanity's greatest adaptation, the ability to transform potential enemies into allies, to turn confrontation into collaboration. They had prepared for war while working for peace, developed weapons while hoping never to use them, and when forced to fight, had chosen to win through wisdom rather than destruction. In her mountain command center, General Patel watched the integration of the fleets with satisfaction. "The art of adaptation isn't just about surviving change," she remarked to her staff. "It's about directing it, about seeing not just what is, but what could be." The quantum networks that had once been used for defense now carried scientific data, cultural exchanges, and diplomatic communications across the solar system. The same technologies that had given humanity its edge in battle were being used to build bridges between civilizations. And in orbit around Earth, ships from a dozen species now moved in harmony, their crews learning from each other, adapting and growing together. They were living proof of humanity's fundamental belief that true strength lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to transform, to adapt, and to grow. A new dawn. 1 year after the Meridian incursion, Earth's night sky told a different story. Where once 7 ships had hung in threatening formation, now a diverse fleet of vessels from 24 species shared Earth's orbit. The Galactic Convergence, as it had come to be known, was about to begin. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood in the newly constructed Unity Chamber, a vast architectural marvel that combined elements from every participating civilization. The chamber itself was a testament to humanity's philosophy, designed not to intimidate with its grandeur, but to inspire with its harmony. "We gather here," she began, addressing representatives from across known space, "not to celebrate a victory, but to mark a transformation." The assembled delegates included former adversaries and newfound allies. The Meridians, their once rigid hierarchy now evolving into something more flexible, sat alongside species they had once sought to dominate. First, Speaker Vilith, who had remained on Earth by choice to help facilitate his civilization's transformation, nodded in acknowledgement. In orbit, Dr. Elena Santos led a team of multi-species engineers in the final calibration of the Quantum Confluence Network, a revolutionary communication system that would link civilizations across vast distances. The technology, born from humanity's defensive innovations, now served to connect rather than confound. The network isn't just about sharing information, she explained to her diverse crew. It's about sharing understanding. Each quantum node adapts to the unique thought patterns of different species, making true communication possible. Deep in the Rocky Mountains, General Maya Patel's command center had evolved as well. The screens that once tracked potential threats now monitored the health of interstellar relations. The same predictive algorithms that had helped humanity prepare for conflict now helped prevent it, identifying potential discord before it could escalate. Defense hasn't become less important, she told a class of multi-species military officers. It's become more nuanced. True security comes not from the strength of our weapons, but from the strength of our connections. Dr. James Rodriguez, whose linguistic insights had once unveiled the Meridian's deception, now led the Galactic Cultural Exchange Initiative. His work had expanded far beyond translation, developing ways for fundamentally different forms of consciousness to find common ground. Language shapes thought, he explained to a gathering of xenolinguists, but understanding shapes civilization. We've learned that the greatest barriers between species aren't technological or biological, they're conceptual. The transformation hadn't been without its challenges. Some human factions had argued for maintaining technological superiority, for keeping humanity's advanced capabilities secret. Others had pushed for aggressive expansion, seeing an opportunity to establish Earth as the dominant force in known space. But the lessons of history, humanity's long, blood-soaked climb from warfare to wisdom, had prevailed. Earth had chosen a different path, using its strength not to dominate but to unite, its knowledge not to control but to elevate. In Geneva's quantum-secured archives, Sarah reviewed the original recordings of humanity's first contact with the Meridians. The contrast between then and now was stark. Where once there had been deception on both sides, now there was transparency. Where there had been preparation for conflict, now there was preparation for collaboration. We've come full circle, she mused to Vilith, who had joined her for this reflection. Your people came to test our worthiness for elevation, never realizing that true elevation comes not from external judgment, but from internal growth. The former first speaker's iridescent skin rippled with what Sarah had learned to recognize as rueful amusement. We thought we were the teachers, coming to assess a young species. Instead, we became the students. In lunar orbit, the combined fleet conducted a ceremonial display. Ships from every participating civilization moved in intricate patterns, their movements guided by a mixture of human tactical precision and alien aesthetic traditions. The formation was more than a show of unity. It was a demonstration of how different approaches could create something greater than the sum of their parts. Dr. Santos, watching from her quantum engineering lab, saw poetry in the precision. Every species brings something unique, she explained to her team. The Meridians' quantum expertise, the Carthaxians' crystalline computing, humanity's adaptability. Together, they open possibilities none of us could have achieved alone. The galactic convergence itself was structured to reflect this philosophy. Unlike the hierarchical systems of the past, it was designed to be adaptive, incorporating the strengths of each member species while compensating for their limitations. The same principles that had allowed humanity to defend itself now served to build something new. The key, Dr. Rodriguez explained during a session on interspecies governance, is understanding that diversity isn't just about biology or technology. It's about perspective. Each species sees the universe differently, and in those differences lie opportunities for growth. In the Unity Chamber, as representatives from across known space formalized their new alliance, Sarah reflected on humanity's journey. They had prepared for war while hoping for peace, developed powerful technologies while remembering the importance of wisdom, and when confronted with potential conquest, had chosen to demonstrate not just strength, but understanding. "We stand at a turning point," she addressed the assembly, "not just for humanity or for any single species, but for all of us. We've learned that true power lies not in the ability to destroy or dominate, but in the capacity to understand and unite." The quantum screens showed similar gatherings taking place across multiple worlds. Species that had once hidden from galactic politics now stepped forward, drawn by the promise of a different kind of interstellar community. "Our strength," General Patil added, her hologram joining the others in the chamber, "comes not from our weapons or our walls, but from our willingness to learn, to adapt, and to grow together." In orbit, Earth's hidden fleet had been fully revealed, but its purpose had evolved. The ships that had been designed to defend humanity now served as bridges between civilizations, their crews mixed, their missions focused on exploration and understanding rather than warfare. The Meridian ships, once intended as instruments of conquest, had been transformed as well. Their quantum drives now powered communication networks, their sensors adapted to search for signs of new life rather than military targets. "The universe is vast," Villith observed, watching the combined fleet through the chamber's quantum-enhanced windows. "Perhaps this is why. To give us room to grow, to learn, to become more than what we are." Sarah nodded, seeing in the stars not potential threats but possibilities. Humanity had proven itself capable of defending against any aggressor, but more importantly, it had shown itself capable of turning adversaries into allies, fear into understanding, and preparation for war into foundation for peace. As the galactic convergence formally began its work, the night sky above Earth shimmered with the lights of ships from dozens of worlds. They were no longer silent stars hanging in threatening formation, but bright points of hope in a galaxy learning to see itself anew. The dawn that rose over Earth that day illuminated not just a planet, but a new era in galactic history. Humanity had awakened not just to its own potential, but to the possibility of something greater, a future where strength served wisdom, where diversity bred unity, and where the stars themselves were no longer silent, but sang with the harmony of civilizations learning to grow together.